I take this opportunity and welcome everybody to one of the original stock market and investing live streams on YouTube. I've been doing this a long time. This is part of my week I really do look forward to. It's kind of a culmination of a lot of activity that happens behind the scenes, both on the channel and also for me as a stock market investor of over 25 years. I love these opportunities to turn back value. This is an infinite topic that there's always something to talk about here. And I want to bring you guys up to speed on some of the most incredible opportunities that I've had on the channel just this week. And some special shout outs go to some of the individual meetings that I've had to protect some anonymity. Sarah, Kelvin, specifically, Mike and his wife. That was just a fantastic opportunity. Just some of the sausage making, right, that happens behind the scene to really get toward this end goal that I'm talking to. And I think it's extremely refreshing for people to be able to come on and speak to somebody like me during a live stream that I don't believe I am cut from the same cloth as everybody else. I really do try to be independent and promote a message that is more about empowering individuals. The independent investor isn't me, it's you guys. I'm just a participant in this craft. And a lot of my mission comes from the identification of people who are doing some extremely incredible things with wealth, with lack of opportunity. Okay. And the flip side of that are those folks out there that maybe have all the opportunity in the world, but they do everything that they can possibly do to get in their own way. And this is why I think that as I evolve with this topic, and it's infinite, right? It's always like chasing your better self, trying to perfect your craft, because this is, in fact, my craft. I would expect that a lot of you guys out there in some form or fashion would take on more of a personal finance initiative in your own life, because I think it's refreshing when somebody like myself comes on and says, here's what I do, and you can do it too. And I think that's really powerful, especially for a topic like personal finance that seems to escape a lot of people. I think people get pigeonholed sometimes into looking at the art of wealth building and the philosophy behind wealth building. And yes, in fact, the discipline of wealth building. And I think they put it into a box, and it's usually in a box that they have deficiencies in. So they have a hard time looking at themselves or aspiring to being a better wealth builder and a better disciplined steward of their own money. And so we're always striving to break down those barriers. We're always striving to fight and battle the status quo. This, for me, on the Independent Investor channel is certainly a voice, and I want to be a proponent of you guys, absolutely. I sent a solicitation in today requesting the fee breakdown and structure for a company that I won't name names. And it reminded me of a couple years ago when I did the same thing for another business that was going after clients to help them with the Thrift Savings Plan. And this really hits home with me, because as hard as I'm trying to work in to bring awareness to these programs, that if you just take a few moments and self-educate yourself up on and really come to terms with the fact that you have to want to do this, you don't need the services of somebody else. And it amazes me in this time, going into 2021, closing the book in 2020, that there are just an immense amount of people, too many really, that sell the farm, and they feel like they have to get help because everybody comes right over the top and says, this personal finance thing I can't do. Okay. For whatever reason. I mean, I'm a tool and dime guy. I can build tools. You know, I'm a plumber. I can go in and wire a house. I'm an electrician. But you can't look at personal finance, and it's some sort of a mystery to a lot of people. And for me, that's somewhat of a challenge for me to break down personal finance. And I think a lot of that magic happens across from the Zoom meetings with people. That's really where a lot of my enjoyment comes from the channel. It really does. So I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for the opportunity. This is going to be an open forum tonight, rolling into the potential for the last live stream. I do something on Christmas. I haven't decided yet. Just stay tuned. If I do end up throwing down on Sunday night, which I probably will, because after the kids have opened the gifts and after we've settled down, I'll probably be in the mood to go ahead and close down 2020 with style. What a year it's been, no doubt. There is people in our community that have lost loved ones, acquaintances, people that have close family members that have lost this year. It's really been a downer. That doesn't mean that our mission stops. And we want to make sure that we're continuing to try to empower people's lives, because unfortunately, or fortunately for me, in identifying that the systemic cause of a lot of people's angst in life and stress comes from lack of personal discipline and finance, which, I tell you what, is the most controlling thing. And if you're out there and you're one of those folks that are making your way to the Independent Investor channel, hopefully, number one, you get a different tone from me. Okay. A lot of the YouTube environment, a lot of which I despise. There's only a couple YouTube channels that I even watch anymore. And I don't mean to offend anybody. There's a lot of good content creators that make their way in the group. There's a lot of content creators that don't frequent my message, and that's totally fine. But outside of Joe Carlson and Gen X dividend investor, I'm not really interested in consuming a whole lot of content. First and foremost, I don't have the time for it. And second of which, I think the landscape is fraught with self improvement and really just selling yourself. And I'd like to be a little bit more of a proponent of selling a message that there's really nothing special about anybody. I think a lot of people maybe even sometimes want to put me on a pedestal. And if you'd like to do that, you're certainly welcome to do so, but do it for the right reasons. Do it for the behind the scenes work that I'm putting in. Do it for the number of light bulbs that we've been able to ignite during those meetings. Taking people from a level of degree of understanding about their own personal finance, their own capability, their own ability, what it is that they could hope for, what it is that they're shooting for. I think that's, for me, where the rubber meets the road. But as far as the YouTube opportunity, this is a 60-minute opportunity that I look forward to every single week. Because I get to engage with you fine people, get an update. I do have the portfolio reviews updated for you guys. Few moves that I will disclose for you. No big deal as we walk toward this wealth building journey. So stick around, guys. This is going to be a Q&A tonight where I'm going to engage with the audience, and really glad everybody made their way into the live stream. So we'll kick it off, and it's great to see everybody. All right, fantastic. Welcome back. I like that intro, so I get kind of caught up in it. And I'm like, hey, man, wake up. You got to run the show. No, I'm just kidding, man. But it was really nice to see Gen X come on and say hello. And, happy holidays to you and yours. Certainly picked up a stint of motivation. Gen X is kind of one of those that I put in a higher category on YouTube, doing some great things with the project, exploring their creative nerve. I don't know if I have quite about the 10th of the creative insight that these guys do, but nonetheless, great to see Gen X in the group here, and keep on hustling and making your project good. We'll see how fast you can get to that 100,000 mark. We were talking about a little bit before the show. I think that would be great. But I think all too often the YouTube opportunity is conducive to getting caught up in ourselves. Yeah, I do. I do. And I think where this message starts to become one-sided, I think I'll probably just shut the thing down, honestly. Because aside from some promo videos, which helps me keep the lights on some of the projects, a lot of the YouTube opportunity, this being one of them, is free of charge. I don't make any money to do the live stream, and this is quite frankly the best opportunity that I have on social media is the opportunity to come on unscripted. I don't script a thing. I changed the portfolio values and stuff for you guys tonight, but I speak from the heart. I speak from the mind every single Friday, and that's the way I want it to be. Because I think all too often it's the world is too scripted. It really is. And I think there's a lot of folks that prescribe to thinking like everybody else, try to empower a message of really trying to find your PB. Yeah. If you can dig deep, find that PB, find that personal best. For a lot of you guys, it could be multi-millions. For a lot of you guys, it could be $250,000 at the time that you retire, and that's fine too. I think the idea is to really structurally break down the discipline, to get involved in a wealth building strategy. There's so many options now. The landscape has changed so radically. It has never been a better time to be an investor. Why is that? I mean, free investing. I sat in on the Robinhood roundtable earlier on this week. My friend Ryan Scribner, he facilitated the Q&A session. My question was unable to be answered. And it read like this: why didn't you have traditional and Roth IRAs when you started? Why don't you now? And one of the executives of the company was like, we can't answer that. And I until they can provide things like that, I think it's 13 million people that are being robbed from, right? We're robbing the poor to feed the rich. And I'm not on playing ball, but they've already solicited me many times to become part of their affiliate program, and I can't justify it. If you guys think I'm wrong on that, certainly welcome to slap me upside the head and say, hey Ryan, you're missing out on a ton. Robinhood's the bomb. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I think there's a lot of people that are using Robinhood in the correct manner that can engage in broker account services. That's fine. Ease of use, et cetera, right? It works for you. But I think for the majority of investors, I think to seek out a long-term strategy and enter into an individual account is the only way. And the allure of free trading has brought a lot of new accounts to bear, and a lot of customers kind of now wondering what happens behind the scenes with a $65 million fine that they're on the hook for. So if you are encouraged to seek that out, it's all over the news. So, and rightfully so. I think they're doing some poor stuff to advertise free trading. Well, somebody's paying the piper at some point along the line. And I think them, just like anything, the quote that I found from the article that was intriguing is it seems like they're more interested in making a pretty app rather than trying to satisfy the requirements of the SEC. Robinhood, always been a fan. But with the opportunities out there with some of the discount brokers, but even the major brokers now, a lot of the folks that I'm talking to, they've been able to find their way to some of the major brokers out there. Fidelity is kind of a crowd favorite, I would say, followed by TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab. There's been a few negative comments come through the channel on E-Trade. I think maybe some of those are isolated. I think a lot of people are enjoying it. And for the most people that follow me and have followed me for a while, know that I'm very satisfied with Merrill as a major broker, which is an offset wing of Bank of America, was acquired some 5 years ago. And I'm very satisfied with Merrill. They've done nothing but win my business, and I'll continue to be a customer of them. So just to give you guys some idea of a starting point, because I do believe there's going to be a lot of investors entering into 2021 that are very excited about the prospects of the stock market. Let me just premise this. If you're excited about the stock market because you see the stock market going up every single day, I will just say this: it's easier to be excited when the market's going up rather than when it starts to go down and everybody's running for the hills and jumping headfirst into their prepper bunkers. Just saying, right? So it's a reverse psychology a little bit to understand an acknowledgement. Look, there's no better time than today to enter into a wealth building program for yourself. Lovely. I'm all about that. You can foot stomp that. There are strategic ways of initiating a program where you're introducing a little bit to the market every 2 weeks, every month, etc. Once you initiate that and you come into a little windfall, hopefully some of you guys get some tax return next year. Maybe that can give you that little bit of start and boost for maybe you, your spouse, something like that. But this is the time where you really want to look to evaluate your program and look to add on to your existing program. If you've got kids out there, start an account for the kids. I came out with this video about goal setting as to more of a holistic, short and medium term explanation as to why I do what I do on a day-to-day basis. Why I joke and I say, well, I buy food and fuel. That's not really that far from the truth. I mean, if my clothing selection on the live stream is any indication that I really like outlet malls, I do. Because I can pick up a shirt for like $7. I don't have to go to the mall anymore and pay $25 for the same shirt. It's stupid. Okay. And at the end of the day, I don't put a whole lot of value in that anyway. I'm just looking to cover my tits. You know what I mean? So put the focus where it is that it needs to be in this life, and you'll look to really take on more of a discipline in your day-to-day lives. How many of you guys hit the gym? Yeah, right. Had a nice healthy dinner tonight. Some roasted chicken with some asparagus. That was nice, with some soup. Okay, 'tis the season for that. But it's part of the Slack initiative that I pushed through the Viper group as well. Some good stuff. All right, we've got the Zoom testimonials going on in there. We're one word away to just go in there and drop the word Viper to schedule your Zoom meeting with me. Every single freaking one of them have gone over a half hour. A half hour is silly. Okay, most of them have gone. I had one that went to an hour and a half, I think, and that just speaks to my devotion. That's all. I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to toot my own horn. But when you talk about people who you can sit across from like this, like I would, yeah, you're the type of business that I'm looking to win, and not from a monetary standpoint, okay? Because you're probably the hardest to get to, but everybody can change. Everybody. And everybody needs to give themselves a fighting opportunity to hear what it is that I have to say. If it's somebody else that motivates you to maybe get off the sideline and start a wealth building program that makes sense for you, great. You need to hear that stuff. You really do. I think the point of that is to make folks understand that if you're tripping and falling into the Viper opportunity, you're finding that, at least I hope they feel this way, that the value is absolutely there. And it's very satisfying for me to go through the course of a meeting and be able to acknowledge right in front of my face when that empowering moment happens. It's a special thing for people, and it's life-changing. And once you get this piece kind of dialed in and you start to identify who you want to be as a wealth builder, maybe there's a lot of you guys out there who felt like maybe an empowering road is kind of a calling for you, right? I did. I hate to get all sappy and spiritual on you, but I feel like I'm following a road that's a calling, that of which I'll probably never get to the finish line on. That's all right. But to empower one investor at a time is to make time every single night this week. Five meetings this week, 8:00 every single night. We threw down on Zoom, and I didn't know what I was going to encounter. One in particular touched me. And I won't get into details. What I will say is that Motivation in this life can come from a lot of places. If you think that somehow you're going to just entitle your way to riches, you're sorely mistaken. If you think that somehow you're entitled to riches, you're sorely mistaken. You have got to, when it comes down to the end of the day, make a choice. And the way that it was posed to me by this individual who's been a staunch follower of the channel, I just, she's so great. She's so great. She basically said that people who remain outside of a wealth building program do so by nature of their choice. Now, I want you to think about that for a second, and maybe it relates to you a little bit. Maybe. I constantly go through this deliberation for myself and for my family. Am I doing enough? You know, am I making the right decisions? Are we pursuing? Are we on track? Right? But I think what it comes down to is, are you making a conscious choice to pursue, or are you not? And that meeting really touched me. And those are some of the reasons why I actually do it. There's straight up magic made. There really is, because you get to hear what somebody's gone through in their life, some of the pitfalls, some of the hardships, etc. Right? You mean life is not a straight line all the time? You mean sometimes you deviate and get off course? Maybe that's by nature of choice. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's by nature of life just happening sometimes. How resilient are you to overcome? Yeah, special stuff, no doubt about it. Got Adrian in the house, man. Merry Christmas to you. Puking up money. Yeah, I guess so. The market's been really good. The market's been conducive. That puking money emoji, that actually reminds me we need to review portfolios. So that's what we'll do. I'll scroll up to the top here and we'll jump through these. We'll do the taxable first. I believe these are just set. They are. Nothing too crazy to report here as far as additions. And you guys know I added Lockheed Martin today. I added 5 more. I had 10 shares queued up on Lockheed and digressed. I pulled back. I went to 5. I should have just went ahead, but I've got already a fairly large position with Lockheed. But I just think that's a screaming value right now. Screaming 16 times forward on Lockheed. Boeing just won some contracts as well. You can see Boeing there in the mix. That's a relatively small position, nothing too crazy there in Boeing, but that's a long position in the taxable there. Altria Group made a little run today at the end of the market. That was a nice little deal. And like I said, the growth portfolio, Gen X would be happy. I own Leggett and Platt. Some positive news there on Leggett for sure. That got whacked back in March, just like everything else. The idea would have been to look at some of these incredible aristocrats and even kings. I mean, Cisco Foods has doubled since then. So, but you can see this is about as heavy a cash as I have in all 3 of the accounts that I'll cover for you guys, but no real change to note there. We'll cruise on down to Roth 1. This has been really performing well. Trying to get comfortably above that 6-figure mark, which is nice anyway. The Vanguard's S&P 500 obviously has just been on fire. Disney added back in there. That was kind of a FOMO buy. Ryan, you suck. You're a crappy investor type of, like, you held the stock for 5 years only to sell it on valuation or a perceived valuation to see it run up 30 bits. So that's my mistake. So at least I can come onto a social media venue and admit that my premature selling of Disney whacked me a little bit. Joe Carlson's pretty bullish on Disney right now. He sees the streaming service being really the catalyst for Disney, and one alone that can actually put some pressure on Netflix that's got such a huge lead. Okay. Going through the list here, I don't think there were any other additions to the portfolio in this one, but it's doing quite well. International is doing quite well. Unlike my friend, he doesn't believe so much in global diversification, in that when the U.S. doesn't do good, the rest of the U.S. Doesn't do good. I don't know if that's a trend that'll necessarily stand the test of decades. It certainly is the case nowadays. in that, it's unfortunate that the world economy and the strength of the U.S. economy does trickle through, and some of those trends that we identify here are unfortunately do trickle to international markets. But I do make a point to have some level of exposure to international markets here. All right. And Roth 2, we'll go ahead and talk about a little bit. This was the biggest change. I had looked at Stag before, and I heard the rationale last week by Matt Money, who's a good friend of the channel. I appreciated that evaluation. I think Kyle had a pretty good little stint of interest there in Stag and what he saw. I took a relook at it and decided to enter back into it. That being probably the third best REIT that I saw, and diversify myself across the REIT space in something completely different. So I was glad to pick up 100 shares of Stag. There, we went ahead and did that. I'm just looking over the portfolio to see if there's anything to earmark as far as additions. Not too much. This is pretty set. I'm pretty satisfied with how this shakes out. 93% on the cash and equity position, and 6% on the cash there. So those are the three. The two retirement accounts and the taxable brokerage, and then the specialty ETF. This was really good. This paid the dividend. So if you guys remember, this is kind of like my YouTube earnings slush fund type of thing that I started to prove that I could get up to the $10,000 mark. This is performing quite well. This paid the December dividend in this portfolio. So for a lot of investors out there who maybe are interested in a kind of a hybrid strategy, this is just fun to sit across from and look. I would be interested in this. I'm interested in it, and it's one that I had kind of an idea of aligning the sectors with the power of M1 Finance and the idea of portfolio redistribution of funds once paid. And it's turning out to be a very, very powerful tool using M1 Finance in this capacity. I just can't complain. I'm up about $2,900. And on such a tiny portfolio, this is $12,000 portfolio, to be up $3,000 on the portfolio it's really good, because this is a maintenance-free portfolio for you guys out there that think you need to find the next best thing or needle in a haystack. This, in essence, is just kind of buying the whole haystack. I saw that analogy this week come through the thread, but it's a cool way of investing. It's fun to track. And, if we end up in a 40% correction next year, then I'll just take whatever that is and just double up the account. So I'm ready and willing and standing by on the side to go ahead and fund this up strategically as opportunity presents itself. But for right now, it's a dollar cost average schedule. Those fundings go in there at about a $25 every 2-week clip. And those are absorbed into the portfolio to allow for a little bit of organic growth. It's like a bellows that I just kind of infuse a little bit of oxygen in it every now and then. And I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. This one's everybody's favorite. This is a beast. To be able to pull a $5,200 gain out of this portfolio, it should and could and probably is a point of interest for you guys. If you're first new to the channel, this is a small hybrid growth portfolio that I established with M1 Finance. This was started with around a couple $1,000. I have, of course, funded it up, but I've got 7,100 of capital deployed in this account. And you can see where the value has gone. Tesla has been a big contributor to this. I'm up over $2,000 just with this small position in Tesla. Very anemic. But Amazon, every one of these positions are up. NVIDIA's a $500 position. Tesla's the $2,000 position. A lot of $300 and $400 positions up, but 100% up in the green on this portfolio. So doing really, really well. I think the reason why I roll these out is to kind of show, look, if you were scared of investing, you thought it was a gamble, you could sit across from me and say, well, okay, what is this M1 finance thing? What is this growth opportunity he's talking about? What is this passive opportunity he's talking about? Why does he have so many dividend payers in some of the other accounts that he's got? And you could start to kind of generate some questions for yourself and maybe come on the live stream and throw them my way, or maybe seek those answers out yourself. Guys, this isn't rocket science. There is no question that doesn't have an answer anymore with the power of Google. There should be nobody in this world out there that wants to know the answer to a question and can't find those answers. All right. And the last I'll throw on here, this is something that I've started to roll out here. This was what really pissed me off, and I'm waiting for these guys to get back to me. And I played it off like I was looking for a financial option for, I think, my dad or something. And I was like, hey, man, I'm really interested to get started. Can you send me back your fee structure? Because I looked all the way through their website, and you have to go through some Zoom tutorial before they give you the sales pitch. So they're going to sell you before, and you have no idea what they're trying to sell you on. This takes me about 7 freaking minutes. And I would put a value on what I'm providing you now at 0. For military and government workers that are authorized to contribute to the Thrift Savings Plan, there's my allocation. You can adjust it. You can not like it. You can like it. You can ask me questions, whatever you want. But this has rendered a 14% return this year, like it or not. It's a little bit underperforming the S&P. That's totally fine. I don't invest in this to outperform the S&P. I invest in this as a passive baseline, and you can see it's growing well. I've invested in this since 2011, I believe, 2012, something like that. So just to give you and put it into context, if you're out there and you're a military and government worker especially, but if you're a new investor to the message, you can look at this and be like, hold on a second, what is this regular Johnson talking about here? This freaking fruitcake has $43,000 in his retirement account. Yeah, well, if you're just tuning in now, you missed the other $350,000 that I just covered. But yeah, it's possible. And you can be like, wow, this guy seems like just a normal fella. What's he doing that's so special? Nothing. And good on me for coming on and saying that there is nothing special. That's one thing I like about Joe Carlson, is when people ask him a question that he doesn't know, he just says, I don't know. It's not a stock. I don't need to cover every stock. I don't need to act like a stock god because it doesn't exist. All right. All the know-it-alls on YouTube is just insane. It really is slightly refreshing to have somebody come on and resonate with more of the truth, in that you don't have all the answers. You don't. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get back to the comments, guys. I'm going to cruise down here. Very cool. Fantastic. It's well-deserved, my friend. Well-deserved, man. You got a great message. Adrian's in the house. I think Gen X is already there, and you're already on the way. Yeah, maybe. I thought maybe if I were to put a dream collaboration together, Gen X likes his privacy, but I think I would really love to collaborate with Joe, who I thought was a little bit more private and doing his message just voiceover for a while. But man, he's putting out some hour. I don't know if he's doing a simultaneous podcast at the same time, but to sit across from a Joe Carlson podcast and just absorb what that guy is talking about, how down to earth he is. I'm always looking at it from a different angle, in that how could a beginning investor really benefit from this? And I think a lot of people get in their own way. I really do. I think a lot of people come on and they try to challenge him, and, hey, you don't do your research. And it's like, it's pretty crazy because somebody with that much smart to have the ability to come on and share his story, there's people that benefit from the message. And yeah, I just think the world of them for sure. It's very cool. All good. Happy holidays to you and yours. Very great to have you. She was reminding me how long she's been with the message. It's been a while. It's going to continue. This is an ever-evolving community. Some people come into the message. That's true. Others go, and they don't stick with the message. and that's fine too. I think it's indicative of life. Absolutely. There'll be one mainstay on the independent investor channel for now and always, and that'll just so happen to be yours truly. I'm not going anywhere. All right. We need guys like me that talk, just talk regular. So a lot of people, man, that I don't think get won over by a lot of other YouTube channels tune into me because they're like, damn, this guy's real. Bet your ass. All right. Well, cruise down here. I'm going to try to pick out. So here's the question I got. I think I probably will. So just expect that I'm going to throw down. I do enjoy it for consistency. This is really the only piece to YouTube that I really enjoy. I'm filling up some of my focus with the Viper group. For you guys that are not engaged, we had so many people sign up for the Viper group this week that we're going to get those folks in on the deal. The deal shakes out at $59.95 for the entire year. That gives you a price lock guarantee to get into the Viper group and start to engage with me on a day-to-day basis. Once things start to transition to that private group, YouTube will be scaled back to a frame. It will. Because this is just not where the bread and butter is as far as earnings go. Okay. This has always been the backbone of the message, and it comes through the live stream. There's no doubt. You guys get to sit across from me and understand where I'm coming from and who the hell I am. One-sided YouTube videos that I come on and provide, those don't really cut it to my standard. This does. This is a lot more engaging, but I think we're going to roll out the Christmas show next Friday. That's fine. We'll plan on it. For you guys that are still tuning into the live stream and those that are going to catch the live stream tomorrow, it will be tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you're going to want to keep your eye on your feed when I conduct the interview from the gentleman from Israel. Okay, it's going to be Lior Gantz from Wealth Management Corps. Okay, so I've been asked, he actually asked to come on my channel. I just saw quickly, I think today, that Kyle completed an interview with the same gentleman, and I haven't had a chance to catch that, but I will, because I'm interested to see how the interview went, and I hope it was worthwhile. But I'm going to run it as a live stream. You guys are obviously welcome as subscribers to the message to kick on and consume that content. I think it's going to be good. I think it'll be fun. I like interviews. I really do. I like it when I have guests on the live stream as well, but for the last 6 or 8, I haven't had a guest. I've run the live stream myself, so we've got a bunch of tentative folks that are just choosing to sit back with their cocktail, and that's totally fine too. I have no problem with that, but we will carry forward. Purpose to that is to, I don't think 60 minutes is too much to ask of me. I'd like to close out 2020 strong. I really would. So that's our last opportunity to do that. And that might actually be kind of the party. And I would just ask, if you're a channel creator or a subscriber or a non-subscriber and you want to kick back in the studio with me for a bit, download the software, get on StreamYard. It's one of the easiest streaming services that you can use. It's very conducive, and we're going to drop everybody in, and I'll probably have some champagne that night. So we're going to have a little bit of fun, because 2020 has been an awesome year, man. I'm just looking at some of these thumbnails of some of these channel creators that have really done a good job building their message. I look at Gen X and Hidden Freedom Investing, some of these great minds, no doubt. I'm just glad to know them, and just do my small part in promoting a community atmosphere for both channel creators and subscribers alike. I think collectively, it's nice to come in and hear different opinions from all the different investors. I like it. It's great. But I'm going to cruise down and start to try to cherry pick. There's my boy right there for sure. It's great to see you, Kyle. Thanks for coming in, man, and saying hi. Chris J's in the house. Great to see you, Chris. You know, it's interesting, man. I go through these live streams and I look at these thumbnails, and these are real people. And it doesn't hit home with me until I get to sit across from people and they're like, man, I've followed you for a year. And it's just like, social media is so shallow. Yeah, I said it, didn't I? Yeah. That's that reality coming out of Ryan. That's really, when I say that stuff, that's the good stuff. This is the truth. It's the truth. Until I can sit across from somebody and really put a face with the name and be like, wow, this is really cool. That, thank you for following the channel. I'm just used to staring at a thumbnail, and that's just the game, I guess. But it's a good way of bringing a lot of people together at the same time. And I guess that's the best that what we've got right now. Financials are in favor, no doubt about it. Again, the latest Joe Carlson offering spoke about this. I thought he did a really, really good job of comparing, why don't you buy Bank of America as opposed to JP Morgan Chase, because Warren Buffett's buying Bank of America. And he did a really good job of explaining, look, Buffett's going to buy Bank of America for a different reason than I might buy a JP Morgan. And I know Matt's really bullish on Wells Fargo. I'm still just as bullish on Citigroup. And it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see these financials catch a little bit of steam. I do like some of the off financials as well. I think Travelers right here with the 3% yield looks good. BlackRock has really run up. That's one of my absolute favorites. And you left PNC Bank off the list. PNC Bank is a premier bank, but financials looks good. You could throw Goldman Sachs in there. I've always liked Blackstone Group. Those are some good offerings there for sure. But I tend to agree with you, HM. I mean, we've been saying it now for a while. Financials has really been out of favor for the last decade. Yeah, decade. And they've really just done poor. But I think they'll actually catch some headwind here shortly. I really do. I think we may enter into more of a value shift. I really do. That $5,000 bill that I showed you on the growth portfolio, I would be really, really surprised if we got that type of performance into 2021. I think you're going to have to be a little more selective, but I think some new funds are really going to flow into some of the value. That's just my call. That's my call. I just don't think you can ignore stocks like Altria Group here at $40. I just don't think you can. There's a lot of good value. I think selectively, I picked up on a little something that Kyle dropped last Friday on his live stream where he was talking about real estate. And I tend to agree with him. I think it might have some more headwind than people may think. And it's going to be the looming effect of coming out of this pandemic, even if there is a vaccine, which is on the horizon. So that's somewhat of good news. But I don't know how much longer you can ignore value. I really don't. I mean, I see some value plays that are 8, 9, 10 times earnings that really look attractive. And I just think a lot of people are going for the astronomical valuations in Zoom Media, some of these companies that are just trading at absurd valuations. Netflix, Starbucks, I looked at today, it was 110 times. I'm sorry. I cannot bring myself, and I know there's a lot of people, I like Starbucks as a company. I like their product. I resonate. I could deploy a lot of different philosophies into why I could invest in the company, but my God, I'm not paying that much. It's one of the most overvalued companies that I've see out there, because it's gone back and forth between growth and value, and somehow it's automatically got thrust back into the growth category. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it deserves that type of valuation, but hey, to each his own. You want to invest in Starbucks, go ahead, and a lot of other companies that I feel really have run up. So we're going to have to be really selective, I think, in 2021. I actually think it's going to be a positive year. I really do. There's been some articles that have been released. Morningstar, I do rely on. It's a very, very good publication, and they're speaking about that as well. Coming out of this, how the stimulus has really held the economy intact and limped it along. Yes, no, I get it. There's arguments on both sides, but going into 2020, 2021, I think if something really shows some signs of efficacy, right, in way of the vaccine, how can that not be a tailwind as we start to kind of move into more of a transitional period? New administration, that's behind us. So now we can kind of put our chips on the table and place our bets the way that we strategically want to. And, it's an interesting time now with emerging technologies. There's some emerging markets, solar, EV, space exploration. There's some just incredible spaces right now to invest in, and the sky's the limit. There, you can't lose your pants. I mean, you can't get in over your skis because you can't invest in everything. But I think picking your spots is probably prudent. And if you're not an investor, that's where you really kind of need to answer the call and find that personal empowerment inside yourself and say, hey, is this something that I want to pursue or not? All right. Very cool. Bob Wright, he's one of my Vipers as well. Great to see you, my friend. Cruising down. I got Aaron T in the group. Very cool. It's great to see you, my friend. Happy holidays. I'm going to spend the last 15 minutes on comments. I get off on a tangent, and it's really tough. I retire with Randy's running one of my options channels electively, I will say, in Slack, man. There's no obligation for him to do that. But he's a super nice guy. He's very cool. Very cool. Proper options require a squeaky chair. You are the expert, man. One of these days I'm going to sit down and learn that craft. But right now it's just something that's Chinese to me. It really is. Aaron T. What sectors are people focusing on in the next 12? Financials. Okay, energy. Straight up. Be a contrarian at times, man. You want to be a bandwagon player all the time. You're probably going to win half of the time. But I think some of the beat down sectors, I think there's value in telecom. I think there's still value in healthcare, no doubt about it. Always been one of my faves. I just threw Lockheed Martin out there at 15. That's the best deal, I think, in industrials. I'm thinking across the board quickly. I mean, you can always invest in 3M, always. But Lockheed looks really good. I got price targets at 500. It's trading at 350 right now, guys. It's just kind of stupid, to be honest. Technology, I think, is just it's a sector. Let me explain something to you. The technology sector is my absolute favorite. It's one of those sectors that you have to be invested in for the growth of the future, where the world is going, how things are becoming integrated, how they talk to each other, how the cloud gets. I mean, I think CRM, I think Salesforce is one of those that's really going to catch some fire. I really do. CRM is going to be big, and we'll see going forward. And then some of the other sectors, the decision to enter into regulated utilities is an easy one. I own Duke and Southern and the utilities ETF, but it's just a different decision adding utilities into the portfolio as opposed to having to go for that technology exposure. So every sector has its place. I know there's a lot of investors out there on YouTube who just scoff at the sector acknowledgement. I'm not one of them. I like the framework aspect to say, hey, listen, are you just never going to invest in materials? Okay, well, you're probably leaving something on the table. It doesn't mean that you have to weight your entire portfolio to materials. It just means that you need to acknowledge that there's 11 sectors in the S&P, and there's a lot of subsectors out there. There's a lot of different opportunities out there. The idea is to try to cover them all, and don't just pick technology. And that's the easy play, is just to load your portfolio with Microsoft and Apple computers. I think there's a broader perspective. That's just my opinion. All right. Good question, actually. I am too. I think so. Yep. There's a pretty split decision on this. I've been pretty interested in some of the circles that I've been part of. And I don't know. I don't look at it like I'm a guinea pig at all. We'll see what happens. I don't live in fear. I think I owe it to a lot of people I engage with and myself to do the right thing if provided the opportunity. I don't outthink things. And so if I'm given the opportunity, I will do it. Yep. All trust in Pfizer. It's looking like that's the horse. Yep. I forced myself to get up. I have my days and nights messed up again. At least I made it. Yeah, it sounds like when I was in Alaska. That's what happened to me. I got my days and nights messed up. I didn't even know what day it was. Very cool. Treatum's in the house. Great to see you. There's some conspiracies going around. I get it. I really do. We're going to have some bacon afterwards. It's nice. Dave's always there to make light of a fairly serious situation, but good old Dave. Every room, every party has got to have a Dave. I'm not going to a party in Vegas unless Dave's there. So, and he doesn't have very far to go. I believe he's hailing from Colorado, so he doesn't have very freaking far. So you don't have any excuse, my brother. Very cool. Marie in the house and Minds in Motion. One of those really cool meetings that I've had this year with Marie. It's nice because I do feel like I get to kind of know you and take it to that next level a little bit. So for me, that personal aspect means a lot. And it also makes me it gives me a better opportunity to engage in a little heightened discussion with you because I kind of know where you're coming from. But it's great to see you. Happy holidays to you and yours. And happy holidays to you as well, Becky, as well. 2020 was the year of Becky. We took care of the notepad, didn't we, Becky? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I won't say what she had, but she had some questions for the Independent Investor channel. And hopefully we got some of those answered for you. It was a big year for you. No doubt about it. I think you would agree. I'm just super stoked for you. I really am. Happy holidays to you and yours. Very cool. DFS Sports and Randomness with Adam. Very cool. Sounds like you got a pretty cool channel. That's kind of a cool thumbnail you got there, man. Simple, and it gets attention, which is what you got to do on YouTube. That's the gig for sure. Welcome to the Independent Investor channel live stream. I don't know if you're actually a sports card trader or a box breaker or something. I don't know. You and J-Max should get together. J-Max breaking boxes now, which is kind of cool. I'm a dork. I watch that stuff. I think it's cool. But it's great to have you on, man. If you ever have any questions about maybe investing in gold and silver or stock market, hit me up. It's great to see you, though, man. Thanks for coming on. Kelvin's one of those guys, man, from this week that I'll remember our meeting. Yes, sir. It's amazing the things I'll remember from this community. Yeah, it's very fulfilling for me to come on and provide you guys that, tonight I'm just winging it. I didn't really have a whole lot of script, but I really did just want to engage and see who was in the group tonight. And it's great to see you, Kelvin. And that was a hell of a meeting, man. Your wife's a sweetheart, no doubt about it. You guys are just great people. I contend that I'd like to live in a world where I insist that there are lots of good people out there like Kelvin and his wife. Yep. I'll continue to operate on that until proven different. Yeah, Matt's in the house. Nice to see you, Matt. Damien, I sold my first option. Sure, of course. I'm not your dad. Good grief. There's a lot of different ways of making money. If you've paid attention to Matt Money, he's provided a fairly in-depth tutorial on somebody who, when I met, didn't really engage much. And I don't want to say one way or the other that I know that for sure, but it seemed like Matt was, fairly set with a specific type of investing. And I know some of the audio casts he's dropped in our groups, he's talked about this. Don't get stuck in one program. Joe Carlson spoke about it as well as on his release this week, and he gets crap for it. Like, come on, man, you were a dividend growth investor. You can't buy a growth stock. Really? I'll do what I want with my money when I want and how I want. And I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I want you guys to take on the same mentality. It's your opportunity. If you want to wrap yourself and your mind around the axle of one specific strategy, that's on you. That's on you. I've been saying this for years and years. I've never prescribed to one strategy. Never. There's not an infinite amount of strategies out there to be deployed and succeeded at. Okay. There's a few that have been proven really, really lucrative. And those are the few that I think you should probably prescribe to. Furthermore, I think there's probably an order of operations. In other words, there's probably certain strategies that you should pursue on the onset. And so, and we talk about that too. But yeah, that's no, I absolutely approve of that. As long as you're making money, the bottom line I've said many, many times on this channel is about money. This is about wealth building. Okay, this isn't about arts and crafts hours. This is serious. Okay, and there's going to be ups and downs for you in your personal application, but the idea is that over time we're building wealth. We're enjoying what the stock market has done historically over the long term, not looking at it from a short-term perspective, because it's volatile from a short-term perspective. But overall, the trajectory of the stock market has been up and to the right. Okay, very cool stuff. The Dan, I'm still dollar cost averaging. Yeah, it's one of those powerful tools. I do too. There's not a month that goes by that I don't dollar cost average. I'm always flowing funds into the market. Yep. I think that's a great takeaway, especially for new investors. I really do. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're less than 5 minutes. I know Matt and Kyle are probably, I think yes, they did. They queued up the thumbnail for tonight's live stream. So I'll preemptively, if they haven't already, provided the link to their live stream. You guys know how to get there. They open the door for you. So kick over there and help those guys support their message as well. They do a good job. It takes me a few minutes to get over there. There's a few things I do on YouTube before I kick over there, but I will also provide my link as well, because while those guys are empowering those viewers over there, I will stay back in the studio just for a bit. So if you are interested in kicking into the backstage, maybe there's a burning question that you got for me and you don't want to share it on the live stream, I will drop the final link into the live stream right now. I will give myself another selfless plug for tomorrow. I'm going to be throwing down at 2:00 in the afternoon. So you'll see that pop on there with myself and Laura. We're gonna talk about trends. We're gonna talk about going into 2021, and it should be awesome. What a great experience to connect the world with the power of social media. That stuff I do like. And getting to meet somebody that I would have normally never had the opportunity to meet, I'm all about that. I feel the same way about him that I do anybody in this community, whether or not you're just a basic subscriber or you're a Viper group member and you engage with me on a day-to-day basis. Okay, very cool. So Aaron T, I'm looking to double down on my energy positions. Yeah, we just, trade cautiously. You don't have to get crazy, but there's some good deals. Man, from the pipelines to the midstream producers to the majors to even some of the emerging plays. Very, very good stuff. All right. What's roadblocks? My kids will tell you. Yeah, frame of mind in the house. I'll throw you on the screen, give you some love. There you go, man. You got some love. It's great to see you, my friend. I hope all's well with you and yours. Happy holidays. That goes for everybody. Mr. Eric Weber has been one of my most devoted subscribers through the time, man, and I just hope you feel like you're part of the community, because you are. Yep. Happy holidays to you and yours as well. Very cool. Thumper the God. Very cool. He's answering the question. You got Mr. John. He's one of my VIPE. He keeps the conversation stoked in the group. It's a shame finance is not taught in school like wealth building these days. Yeah, from a basic perspective, I agree with you. I don't know what good it would have done. I don't know how many young kids are listening to this stuff, but I sleep easy knowing that we're rolling out the message on the channel, and I think people would benefit as well to take the message. And it starts within the household anyway. And really, you can't rely on me to be teaching the younger generation. I think my demographic is more mid-30s anyway. But no, I think there's a lot of work to be done on this front, John. I agree with you. I really do. And we're going to keep pushing the envelope. We really are. Less than about 30 seconds, guys, on the live stream. Certainly almost got to the end. Almost. They'll probably dump. It did. It dumped a ton of comments. We had Drizzle. Drizzle's in the house, man. says smash the freaking like button. Go ahead. If you didn't like the live stream, go ahead. You can help the algorithm by smashing the thumbs down button. Either decision you make, I really don't care, to be honest with you. All I care is your empowering journey and seeking out that opportunity to seek a higher calling in this life. It doesn't have to be holistically based around personal finance, but it can partially be based around that because, like I said at the top of the show, it systemically has its feelers in a lot of different things that we do in this life. It really does. And I think if you can get this thing straight now, it'll actually free you up to think less about personal finance and wealth building down the line. Okay. And that's really an empowering thing. So happy holidays, guys. We will plan on the live stream next Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And you want to, again, keep your ears and eyes open for the special live stream that I'm running tomorrow afternoon. It should be a good time. I'm looking forward to that product. And if you'd be so kind, kick in, help us support the message that we're putting through. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the live stream. I really appreciate it. Be well, take it easy, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the special live stream. Take it easy, guys.